Agenda 21 was founded by Gro Harlem Brundtland and was backed by billionaires like the Gates, Warren Buffett, and the United Nations Millennium Project, as well as the Rockefeller Foundation. One of its major guideposts is sustained development. Sustained development is the process by which they change society as we know it forever. The following are the guideposts for implementing sustained development. The number one goal is to maintain humanity under 500 million persons, which should be in perpetual balance with nature. In short, United Nations Agenda 21 has to depopulate the earth. That is, it has to destroy nearly 2.5 billion people, whether it be through war, through pestilence, through disease, the introduction of man-made diseases, wars that were deliberately placed on nations and countries and instigated, or shall I say ignited, is sustained development. Sustained development is the process by which they change society as we know it forever. The following are the guideposts for implementing sustained development. The number one goal is to maintain humanity under 500 million persons, which should be in perpetual balance with nature. In short, United Nations Agenda 21 has to depopulate the earth. That is, it has to destroy nearly 2.5 billion people, whether it be through war, through pestilence, through disease, the introduction of man-made diseases, wars that were deliberately placed on nations and countries and instigated, or shall I say ignited. Number 2, guiding the reproduction on this planet wisely, thus improving fitness and diversity. Fitness and diversity in accordance with reproduction. I won't say that the United Nations is playing God, but guiding reproduction wisely, choosing who will be born, who will have children, and who will not. 3, uniting humanity under one living language, a new language. That's Mystery Babylon, in case we don't know. This will be Mystery Babylon. Every nation on earth will have to speak this one language, which is not a bad idea at face value. But this is what brought God's wrath down. So if you don't believe in God, then you don't have to worry about this justice wrath. Number 4, ruling passion, faith, tradition, and all things with temperate reason. Yes, this is the age of reason. Before you fall in love with someone, weigh the alternatives as to whether this is a good mate, whether they have enough money, check their credit report. The same thing with your church and faith. If a person wants to join your church, see if they have enough money to give you. See if they have the right character for your particular church, which is now a social club. And tradition, forget your past. And all of us know that would doom us to repeat the mistakes of the past. Number 5, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Of course, we don't have those right now, though we say we do. But nowhere on this planet have I ever seen this. But we'll talk about that later. Number 6, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. That would be so much better because that would stop a lot of wars, except in the world court, most wars are ignited. Number 7, avoid petty laws and useless officials whenever your officials are incompetent or ineffective. In short, if your officials aren't ruling the way that the United Nations or Agenda 21 wants them to rule, they have the power to implement martial law and take over your government and place those in power whom you did not elect. Number 8, balance personal rights with social duties. You've heard about so many mothers being arrested recently for the pettiest things you've ever imagined so that the state can rear their children. People are turning on each other, spying on each other, turning on their family members. All this to invade the personal rights of others so that they can do their social duty to the state. 9. Prize truth, beauty, love, and seeking harmony with the infinite. There's nothing wrong with that. Number 10. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. There's nothing wrong with leaving room for nature. In fact, that's a guidepost that we should all live by. However, placing airports, parking lots over good farmland, and taking away from animals that could have lived there, people who could have flourished there, and governments that could have been saved by using their own instead of importing other people's vegetables, fruit, crops, animals, resources, would have saved a whole planet. So, yes, leave room for nature, but do not ever elevate nature above man. How they transfer wealth to the elite. 1. The privatization of energy from state to private companies. Private companies in Brazil actually control the water that falls from the sky during the rains. Terrible problem. We all see California suffering, not even being able to flush toilets, even though they're right beside the ocean, because of privatization of their natural resources, their energy. Corporations can shut them down or cut off energy or resources just so they can get a bigger profit. Number 2, government and private corporations join together. And as they join together, it makes it very possible for them to give subsidies, tax breaks, insider information, and all sorts of unfair practices like incentives, privileges, insider privileges to their partners, their corporate partners. And this makes it harder for the average smaller companies to even compete. And that way they can destroy free enterprise, mom and pop shops. Individuals who are trying to climb to a different level will be stopped immediately by corporations. The 3 pillars of the United States Agenda 21 are equity, that is, restructuring human nature through education programs, from equal justice to social justice. Instead of fair trials based on equal justice for everyone, justice is based on popularity and who belongs to a bigger, more influential group. How long have we had that policy? In fact, just to break that down a little more and give you a good example, I have an aunt. And she knows that in order for her to do and get away with, heaven knows, everything under the sun, she has this large social group. And she cultivates it, undermines other people so that she can get more and more people into her side, because justice is not tempered by what is right or what's wrong or who's innocent or who's guilty. It's justified by who is the most popular. As you can see, when they took Justin Bieber's popularity down, the courts began unraveling his finances and charging him $50,000 for something that you or I would only have to pay $25 or $50 for in fines. But that is not justice, it's called equity, social justice. Economy, redistribution of wealth to the global elite. In Dubai, a billionaire with less than $10 million is only middle class. So when our elite compared to their elite, they fall seriously short. They're only working class persons. Even their wealth will be subject to global disposal, especially since their income's not gold backed. They'll determine how you spend your money, where you spend the money, who you will spend your money on, and how much money you will earn. In Scotland, sometime back when the EU first took over, they had limited so many of the people to maximum wealth of $15,000 and no higher. Environments, placing nature above man and the rights of man, and creating a belief system is the next. A belief system in Mother Earth or Pachamama, advocating population reduction. In the Midwest, 40,000 farmers had their water rerouted to save a 3-inch fish. They're now on public assistance. This destroys their independence and makes them dependent on the government. The rights and freedoms may in no case be exercised contrary to the purposes and principles of the United Nations. This is the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. Let me repeat. Rights and freedoms may in no case be exercised contrary to the purposes and principles of the United Nations, making the United Nations a dictatorship. The Helen Clark government in 2003 initiated a project called SPDOA, Sustainable Development Program of Action. The New Zealand government provided taxpayer money to promote Agenda 21 using the Community Environmental Fund, or CEF. ICLEI, an international council for local environmental initiatives, gives $15,000 to $300,000 of taxpayer money to anyone who wants to be a part of Agenda 21, go through its training, and so forth. In America, you'll hear them say 5,700 or 5,000 whatever. In short, they're taking 2/3 of the original ICLEI money and giving you 1/3, and then telling you you have to pay it back when these are grants. %, of it is signed up to Agenda 21 through their local councils and ICLEI, which trains council members or councils on how to implement policies such as Enviro Schools, teaching children collectivist ideals, and so forth. In the United States, land deals with private organizations have been funded and set in motion all over the United States. Many people blame the Democrats or Republicans for the destruction of Detroit. However, it was the Model City Project which brought Detroit to its knees, and it was a part of sustained development, or Agenda 21. Its branches include the Smart Growth Network, which houses agencies like the American Planning Association, Conservation Fund, the National Resources Defense Council, the Sierra Club, just to name a few. These so-called smart networks were given the label visioning councils. This actually began in 1976. Their original goal was to present the PCSD their goals for planning the community. By using the consensus project process, they remove any objections that anyone would have. They call it the Your Town 2020 Plan of Action. Now, according to this, the process takes about 18 months to 2 years and involves press releases and other projects to get the public on board, with the mistaken idea that they were actually going to save their community or really support sustainability. With ICLAI on board, the press puts so much pressure on elected officials that they have no other choice but to approve the passage of bills or ordinances to carry on the Agenda 21 projects. ICLAI then trains, educates, and supports local governments in its process of supposedly making the neighborhoods more sustainable. They believe that local initiatives can help develop plans to meet their global, national, and local sustainability goals. Now remember, the sustainability's number one goal is to get the Earth population down to 500 million people. So how many deaths do you think this will take? It'll take for this to occur? And what techniques do you think they'll be using? Well, anyway, ICMA provides technical management, education, and training, environmental management to its members and local governments. In Florida, they have a project called the Florida Forever Project, or program. In Virginia, they have the Virginia Project, or Go Green Virginia Project. Collective goods are more important than individual rights, according to these projects. In HB 3202, 67 they are made to start urban development areas. There are 67 made to start urban development areas. Interconnected growth and pedestrian accommodations are supposed to be all over the place. All the United States will be made to reduce the 6 homes per acre to 12 units per acre. In short, everyone will be pushed in these tiny little apartments in very small areas with no space around them. By the year 2020, what this means is that people will be packed into apartments like sardines in cans. One Planet Community ideas. The One Planet Community idea involves the 5-minute lifestyle. That is, everyone will be within 5 walking minutes of housing, work, groceries, restaurants, services, sports, gardens, gyms, shops, theaters, hotels. All these things should be within a 5-minute walk of your community. In short, segregation and slums, ghettos. You can travel by bike or on foot within 5 minutes. Your community will use electric cars for short distances and high-speed rails for longer distances. Car ownership will eventually be a thing of the past. Due to the EPA's protection of a 3-inch fish, remember those 40,000 American farmers that lost their land? Well, you'll be losing yours as well. Due to inflated prices, due to limited economic resources, houses will have to be upgraded. If you're not able to afford it, you will be forced to leave your community. The global to local plan, Your Town 2020 Plan of Action, is going to negatively affect private property rights as well as hinder economic growth and prosperity. This will result in the regulatory taking of private land and a sharp increase in urban housing prices. Higher density in urban areas will make it difficult for you to use water, electricity, and fuel. Higher property taxes, artificial inflation of revitalization projects will remove people, local resources, regulations, and restrict all of your utilities. Houses will be upgraded, and those who can't afford it will be forced to leave. Rezoning will inflate property taxes. In short, sustained development means that the government will take your land, and it's designed to abolish private property, control every aspect of your life, and eventually kill you. Thank you.